I am Tom Hallam, your videographer, and I represent Atkinson Baker Incorporated of Glendale, California. I am not financially interested in this action, nor am I a relative or employee of any attorney or any of the parties. The date is July 21st, 2009. The time is 9:02 a.m. This deposition is taking place at the law offices of Huckabee, Munson, Rowlett, and Moore, 400 West Capitol Avenue, Suite 1900, Little Rock, Arkansas. This is case number 409CV0008 BSM, entitled Terry Hobbs versus Natalie Pazdar individually, and Natalie Pazdar, Emily Robinson, and Martha Seidel, doing business as Dixie Chicks. The deponent is Terry Hobbs. This deposition is being taken on behalf of the defendant. Your court reporter is Kelly Hill. Counsel will now introduce themselves and the witness will be sworn in.
Dan Davison and Leslie Davis with the law firm of Fulbright and Jaworski, representing Ms. Pazdar.
John Moore and Melissa Bandy representing Ms. Pazdar.
Bob Wellenberger, Thompson Co. Cousins and Irons representing the Dixie Chicks.
Cody Highland and Ted Thomas representing plaintiff Terry Hobbs.
If you'll raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you state your name for the record, sir?
Terry Wayne Hobbs.
Mr. Hobbs, you can put your hand down now. Mr. Hobbs, my name is Dan Davison, and I represent Natalie Pazdar in connection with the lawsuit that you have brought against her. And you understand that you're here today to answer questions?
I do.
And you understand that you took an oath to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, correct?
I do.
Right. And you understand, I assume, that the testimony you give here today has the same force and effect as though you were testifying in front of a judge and a jury?
I do.
All right. A couple of ground rules, Mr. Hobbs, if we could, before we kind of get started. I think it'll make the day go a little faster. I will endeavor to ask questions that hopefully you understand. But if I ask a question that you don't understand, if you would tell me that you don't understand it, I'll try to rephrase it. Is that fair?
That sounds fair.
And if you tell me that you don't understand it, I'm going to assume that you do understand the question. Is that a fair assumption, sir?
It is.
All right. I will also try to give you the courtesy of letting you finish your answer before I start my next question. If you would allow me the same courtesy of letting me finish my question before you start your answer. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because the court reporter has a hard time taking down if both of us talk at the same time. And she also has a very difficult time taking down shakes of the heads or uh-huhs or uh-uh. So if you could answer out loud verbally, that would be helpful. Is that agreeable, sir?
I agree.
All right. Now, in Texas, you know, I certainly typically don't have a problem being heard, and I will try to speak up. I do know, sir, that you have a tendency to be soft-spoken at times. So even though we're on videotape, if you would try to answer out loud as forcefully as you can, I think that'll help both the videographer, it'll help Mr. Wellenberger, who's on the phone, it'll help the court reporter. Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
All right. Mr. Hobbs, could you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury why you sued my client?
For her statements against me that she made on the internet.
Okay. Anything else?
And her actions on the here in Little Rock.
That's at the rally?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other reasons that you sued my client?
I object to the extent that that calls for a legal conclusion because it requires him to apply facts to the law.
I'm just asking you, sir, for the reasons why you filed a lawsuit against my client. You said the letter on the internet and the rally. Anything else?
Continued objection. Oh, you go on and answer. Okay.
Probably, or not probably, for all the emotions, distress, the anger.
That her statements caused you?
Correct.
Well, they certainly weren't things that you had never heard before, is it?
No.
And in fact, there are things that have been said for years and years about you, isn't it?
Some people say.
Well, I mean, you've said in press releases and in the newspaper that these are things that have been said time and time again against you for years and years. Isn't that right?
It is.
As a matter of fact, you said you've previously testified, you've been quoted in the newspapers as saying that the press was out to get you for years, correct?
I had to see that quote.
Well, that's something that you've thought, isn't it? That the press has been out to get you for years and years?
I had to, no, I don't think I thought that.
Well, you filed a grievance against Mr. Reardon, didn't you?
I did.
And who's Mr. Reardon?
He's the defense attorney for Damian Eccles.
All right. And when did you file that grievance against him?
I'm not sure of the date, but probably 07, 08.
All right. And the reason for that is because you think he's out to get you.
No, I think their actions were out to get me.
Okay. Well, you say, isn't it true, Mr. Hobbs, that from basically the time of the murder and the conviction, the murders and the trial and the conviction and all the appeals that have gone forward since that time, you've at least been at the center of this controversy about who killed the boys and were the boys wrongfully convicted?
Objection
No.
calls for a legal conclusion.
No, you haven't. That hadn't been a controversy.
No.
Why do you say that?
Why do you say that?
Well, I get to ask the questions here, sir.
Because
So-
it's not a true statement.
Okay. So there hasn't been an ongoing controversy about whether or not the West Memphis Three killed the 3 boys.
Objection calls for a legal conclusion. Do we need to make the regular stipulations regarding reservation of objections, except as to form of question? I don't know if y'all have a standard stipulation that you do in Texas.
Just take them by the rules. That's fine.
Okay.
Hadn't there been a controversy since the conviction as to whether or not the West Memphis Three were wrongfully convicted?
In some people's mind.
Okay. And, well, there's been national press on the subject, hasn't there?
There has.
And there have been several books written on the subject, hasn't there?
A few.
There have been shows on CNN about it, right?
There has.
There have been shows on Geraldo about it.
There has.
There have been shows on America's Most Wanted about it.
There has.
In fact, you've been in all those shows, haven't you?
A part of them.
That's a yes, correct?
It is a yes.
And that's been since the time of the convictions going forward to today, right? That controversy.
Objection to the extent that it calls for a legal conclusion.
You get to still answer. He has to just make objections to preserve them. But
Will
unless
you
he tells
repeat
you
the
not,
question?
could you read the question back, ma'am? I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And that's been since the time of the convictions going forward to today. And then that's when you objected.
Right?
I didn't understand that question.
Right. Well, the controversy of whether or not the West Memphis Three actually killed the 3 little boys and whether or not they were wrongfully convicted, that's been a controversy from shortly after the verdict was returned until we sit here today, right?
Correct.
Continuing
It is.
suggestion that it calls for a legal conclusion, Mr. Hobbs is not required to define what a public controversy is or what a controversy is.
Ted, we're going to take the deposition by the rules, which means you get to say objection form, period. And then if I think that I need any education about what the objection is, then I'll ask you. But we're not going to sit here for the rest of the day and have you coach the witness. So I'd ask that you follow the rules and basically say objection form or instruct the witness not to answer, which is all the rules allow you
I'm
to do.
permitted to state the basis for the objection. And what I don't want you to do is come in and ask 50 questions, and because I object to 49 of them and not 50, and try to say that I waived the objection with respect to the 50th question.
And you can object as to
So it
form
could
as
be
to all 50
A
questions.
continuing, well then it's going to be like that. So a continuing objection to the notion that Mr. Hobbs is required to define what is or isn't a public controversy, because that's a legal concept, and we're here to take a factual deposition.
Yes, we are. Isn't it true, Mr. Hobbs? You wrote a journal, did you not, Mr. Hobbs, from May the 5th, 1993 forward?
I have done a lot of writing.
Well, you produced a 4-volume journal to us, correct?
Correct.
And in that journal, don't you state that the press is out to get you?
No.
You don't say that?
Nope.
Do you think folks are out to get you?
No.
Okay. Mr. Hobbs, how would you describe yourself to the jury as we sit here today?
Has been a pretty good man.
Okay. Well, tell me about yourself.
I'm presently divorced from a marriage that has been interrupted by the death of our child.
Okay. And that's from Pam Hobbs.
Correct.
Okay. As you sit here today, what do you think your reputation in the community is?
The people that know me like me.
Okay. But generally, what if you had to describe your reputation to folks other than just a good man? What else would it be?
A hard-working man, good dad, good husband in the past, pretty good man.
You an honest fella?
I try my best.
Law-abiding man?
I do pretty good at it.
And that's your reputation today?
Well, some people might not think so.
Well, what people don't think so?
Who knows?
As we sit today, do you know of anybody that thinks otherwise of you?
Yeah, there's people that has asked me questions about all this stuff that shouldn't have never been.
And that's been going on for a long time, hasn't it?
For about the past couple years.
Okay. When do you first recall being asked those sorts of questions?
What kind of questions?
Well, the questions you just said that have been going on for the last couple of years.
People has come up and asked me, did you kill some babies?
Who asked you that?
Friends. People don't even know me. I don't even know them.
Well, you were asked that question on CNN, right?
Sure.
And when were you on CNN?
Roughly so 07, 08.
Okay, that was before. Was that before or after the DNA results?
After.
Was it after?
I'm guessing after.
Well, I want you to guess. I mean, that's one of the things that I
I
know
don't
Ted.
keep up with the dates.
I know Ted doesn't want you to guess.
I'm not keeping up with the dates.
Okay. So the first time you were ever asked if you had killed the 3 boys, your testimony was after the DNA results?
Probably.
Okay. When were you on Geraldo?
94, I think.
When were you on Cooper? 360.
08, 07.
Before or after the DNA?
After.
Okay. And Larry King?
I didn't do Larry King.
Was it your daughter that did Larry King?
It was.
And when did she do Larry King?
07, 08.
Okay. Did you ask her to go on Larry King?
I advised her not to.
Why'd you advise her not to?
Because I don't want my children drugged into this.
Okay. What do you hope to get out of the lawsuit?
Justice.
How do you define justice?
In a court of law.
You want money, don't you?
I want justice as the courts deem.
Well, you're going to ask the court to award you money, right?
I ain't asking for nothing.
So you're not going to ask the court to award you money?
Justice.
That's not my question. You're going to sit and you're going to get on the witness stand and you're going to ask the court to award you money?
I don't know. I'm not asking for money.
You're not asking for money. Well, then what do you want? How do you define justice?
Whatever the court deems necessary.
An apology? Is that enough?
Whatever the courts decide.
No, I'm not asking. I'm asking what you want to get out of this lawsuit, Mr. Hobbs.
If I was sit here to be honest,
Then that's what I want. I want you to be
I would
totally
sit here
honest.
and say I'd like to see the Dixie Chicks humiliated, like they have caused me.
Okay.
I think that's a little bit fair.
Okay, so you want to humiliate the Dixie Chicks. And how would you do that?
Letting the courts decide.
Why'd you focused on the Dixie Chicks? They're not the only people. Matter of fact, they're not the first people that made these allegations. Why are you focused on the Dixie Chicks?
Object to the extent that it calls for a legal conclusion.
It's not a legal conclusion. Answer the question, sir.
Why am I focused on it? Because they speak the loudest.
Louder than Larry King?
I didn't do Larry King.
Louder than Geraldo?
Geraldo never accused me.
Louder than CNN?
They had questions.
Okay. When did you first meet Mr. Hilland?
Mr. Highland,
Highland, I'm sorry, I apologize, Cody.
a year ago maybe.
How'd you meet him?
I was on a mission
What was your mission, Mr.
to
Hobbs?
find some attorneys to look at my complaint and see if I had something worth fighting for.
Okay. How many lawyers did you have to go to?
I've talked to several.
How many?
I don't keep up with it.
More than one?
More than one.
More than two?
More than two.
More than 10?
More, roughly, probably.
More than 15?
Probably not.
All right. So more than 10 lawyers, and was Cody the only one that would take your case?
No, I've had a few of them that said they'd like to do this.
Okay. Who?
I don't know their names. Don't keep up with them.
You keep any records of who you
I
talked
do,
to?
but I don't have them on me.
Well, as you sit here today, can you recall any of the other 10 lawyers that you went to talk to?
Chris Carnahan.
Where's
I talked
Chris?
to him.
Where's Chris?
He's here in Little Rock somewhere, I believe.
Okay.
He's in Arkansas.
Who else?
There's some more in Arkansas, but I don't know their name. There was I don't recall their names.
Okay. Any in Tennessee?
Sure.
How many did you talk to in Tennessee?
I don't know the number.
Would that be in addition to the 10 that you talked to here?
No, it'd probably be in the equation.
Meaning they would be part of the 10?
Correct.
Okay. When did you retain Cody to represent you in this case?
Roughly a year ago.
You have a written fee agreement with him?
We do.
What's that agreement?
It's our,
Objection privileged.
Instructing him not to answer?
Yes.
It's a contingent. You have this on your attorney has this on a contingent fee basis, correct?
that's our business.
Your attorney has it on a contingency fee basis, correct?
Correct.
All right, means he gets paid if you get paid, right?
That's part of it.
All right, who's paying expenses?
Well, we've covered our own.
So you're paying all the expenses?
I've paid some.
Who else has paid some?
Mr. Cody has paid some.
Anybody else paid some?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. How did you find Cody? Did someone recommend him to you?
Someone did.
Who recommended him to you?
Mr. Chris.
Who's Mr. Chris is the lawyer here in town?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out loud.
Yes, sir.
All right. And when did you meet Mr. Thomas?
I don't know, a long time ago over the phone.
Well, how long? Give me a time frame.
10 years, 15 years, 12 years.
What was the context in which you met Mr. Thomas?
Just talking to him.
Was it in conjunction with West Memphis Three?
Seemed like it was.
What was the circumstances in which you met Mr. Thomas 10, 15 years ago?
I didn't like the way some of the procedures happened the night of May the 5th. And I talked to Mr. Ted about this.
What procedures didn't you like?
The
on
police
night?
procedures.
Objection to the extent that it calls for privileged communication.
I'm not asking what he talked to you about. I'm asking what procedures he didn't like. What police procedures didn't you not like the night of May the 5th?
We were so desperately trying to get them to help us search for our kids, and they would not.
Is Mr. Thomas a criminal lawyer, do you know?
I'm not aware of that.
Did you call him the night of the 5th? May
No,
the
I
5th?
did not.
When did you call him How long after May the 5th, 1993, did you first talk to Mr. Thomas?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, was it hours, days, weeks, months? Give me some sense, sir.
Months or years.
Months or years? Do you know if it was 93?
Don't know that.
Do you know if it was before or after the conviction?
Don't know that.
When was the first time you spoke with an attorney about the events that occurred on May the 5th, 1993?
Not sure.
Did you speak with an attorney in 93 about that event?
Yes, I believe we did.
Who did you speak with? I'm not asking what you spoke about. I'm just asking who you spoke with.
Seemed like it was Wayne Emmons.
Who's Mr. Emmons?
He's an attorney.
Is Mr. Emmons a criminal attorney?
He is.
Why did you speak with a criminal attorney in 93 about the events, about the murder of the 3 little boys?
Not knowing who to talk to, we just called someone up out of the phone book and talked to him.
Okay. Was he your? Did you establish an attorney-client relationship with him?
No, I did not.
Okay. What did you speak with him about?
The night of the procedures of the night of the May the 5th.
What about the procedures the night of May the 5th?
Objection,
would-
it's privileged regardless of whether he knows or doesn't know whether they established a relationship. If he talks to a lawyer and it has anything to do with any conceivable representation, it's privileged. I instruct him not to answer.
I disagree. He's testified, Ted, that there was no attorney-client relationship established.
He's not a lawyer that's qualified to make that concession.
Did you pay him any money?
No.
Did you sign any? Was there any sort of
No.
retainer agreement signed? Anything right between you two?
No, sir.
You just picked up the phone and called in and asked him some questions?
And went down and talked to him.
Okay. Tell me what you talked about.
Don't remember.
Objection, that's privileged.
Did he give you any advice?
Objection, that's privileged.
No, not whether or not he gave, just whether, yes or no, whether or not he gave him any advice. That's not privileged. Did he give
That's
you any
correct.
advice?
Don't remember.
And any other questions about that you're refusing to answer based upon the advice of Mr. Thomas, correct?
No, because
No?
I don't remember everything that's happened in the past.
Okay. So you don't remember you just remember you talked to a criminal attorney in 93, but you don't remember what you talked about. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And it was about the events of the evening of May the 3rd, correct? May the 5th, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What'd you do to prepare for the deposition today, sir? Anything?
Read some papers.
What'd you read?
Just some papers.
What papers?
I don't know what they are. A bunch of garbage.
You have no idea what papers you read?
Yeah, some statements
What statements?
from Sharon Nelson.
What statements from Sharon Nelson?
Bunch of garbage.
Well, what did Miss Nelson say in those statements that you think's a bunch of garbage?
How that she believes that I told her I found the boy's body before the police.
When did she make those statements, Mr.?
I don't know who she made them to. It's on paper.
I asked when she made those statements.
I don't know.
Do you know who she made those statements to?
Sure don't.
Do you know when she made those statements?
No, sir.
You hadn't sued her, have you?
No, sir.
Okay. Why not?
Objection to the extent that it calls for a legal conclusion.
I'm not asking for a legal conclusion. I'm asking you why you haven't
You're
sued.
asking for a legal strategy. You're asking for why he did stuff. And you're asking for the manner in which he chose to exercise his rights under the law, and that relates to legal strategy.
You can answer the question, Mr. Hobbs.
And the question was?
Why hadn't you sued her? She said you found the bodies for the police. That'd be a pretty damning fact if it was true, wouldn't
Well,
it?
there's been a lot of people say garbage like that.
Well, my
And
question.
I hope I get to address them all.
Well, this is your chance. Why hadn't you sued her?
Well, maybe she's on the list.
You got a list of folks you're going to sue?
Couldn't tell you. Maybe in my mind.
Okay. Well, if you were going to sue folks, who would you sue?
Everyone
Object to
that,
the extent that it calls for legal conclusion.
everyone that brought my name up,
Everybody.
I think deserves something.
You want to humiliate all of them.
I'm a victim of this.
That's not my question. You want to humiliate everyone who's brought your name up. Isn't that right?
I like to see the courts address every one of them.
Well, you said you want to humiliate the Dixie Chicks. Do you want to humiliate everyone who brought your name up in
That
connection
sounds
with it?
fine to me.
Sounds fine to you. All right. What other papers did you look at in preparation for the deposition?
Some other pile of garbage.
Well,
That's what I think of them.
I appreciate that, but I need to know what pile of garbage you looked at, Mr. Hobbs.
I don't know.
Can't remember a single other piece of paper.
I don't know what it's called, just a pile of papers.
Well, explain to me how tall a pile of papers did you look at? Use your hand from the table,
A half inch
half inch, okay,
or less.
or less, okay. And do you recall how many different documents were in that half inch of paper?
No. After I started reading them, oh yeah, I'm sorry. The police interview,
Of you in 07?
roughly, if that's when it happened.
All right. Well, and that was before that police interview. That was before November of 07, when Ms. Maines posted her letter and appeared at the rally that you're suing on, right?
Sounds good.
Well, that's when it. I mean, not sounds good. That's when it was, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't keep up with the dates.
You don't keep up with the dates. Well, if I told you that you were interviewed, that your police interview was several months prior to Ms. Maines posting her letter or appearing at the Little Rock rally, would that sound about right to you?
Objection calls for speculation. He said he didn't know.
Not
I
asking
still
exact-
don't know.
Still don't know? You know that your interview is available on the internet, isn't it?
It is.
Matter of fact, the video's available on the internet. You can get on YouTube and look at it, can't you?
You sure can.
And how long's that been available on the internet?
Couldn't tell you.
Why'd the police want to talk to you?
I asked the police.
Okay. Okay. Other than looking at this half-inch paper that you can't recall, what else did you do to prepare for your deposition, Mr. Hobbs?
Tried to sleep on it.
Try to get a good night's sleep?
I tried.
Okay.
Didn't happen.
I appreciate that. What else did you do?
Prayed about it.
Prayed about it. Anything else?
No,
Okay. You met with your lawyers?
I did.
When did you meet with them?
Last night.
And who was present?
Mr. Ted and Mr. Cody.
Okay. Anyone else present?
No, sir.
And how long did you meet with your lawyers preparing for today?
30, 40 minutes.
Okay. Is that the only time you've met with them preparing for today?
I would say, yeah.
Okay. And have you talked to anybody other than your lawyers about the fact that you're being deposed today?
Maybe I might have told some people at work that I'm coming up here for a deposition.
Okay. Did you tell them about what? Or just a deposition?
Well, they know.
They know?
They have followed this story all the way through.
Okay. Well, who would you have told at work?
Who? I work with a bunch of men.
Okay. Have you spoken with anybody over the phone about the deposition or preparing for the deposition?
I'm not sure.
Have you spoken, did you speak, other than just getting with your lawyers about the date and the logistics, the date, the where, the when, have you spoken with your lawyers on the phone preparing for the deposition?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Any reason you can't give truthful testimony here today, Mr. Hobbs?
Well, if I don't remember something, it's that happens.
Well, and if you
But
can't,
I am trying my best to be just as honest as I'm sitting here.
I appreciate that, and I don't want you to guess, and Ted and Cody don't want you to guess. If you can't remember something or you don't know, just tell me that you don't know.
Right.
But I don't. But if you do know, I'm entitled to, I think, the best answer, the answer to the best of your knowledge.
Exactly.
But there's no reason why you can't give truthful testimony here today.
Correct.
You're not on any sort of medication that would impact your ability to focus or concentrate or give truthful answers.
I am not.
And you hadn't done any drugs.
I don't do drugs.
Well, you done drugs in the past, hadn't you?
I don't do drugs.
That's not my question. You've done drugs in the past, haven't you?
I'm not a druggie.
Mr. Hobbs, did you not understand my question?
I heard your question.
And my question was very simple. Have you done drugs in the past?
I've tried medications in the past.
Medications. Well, what medications?
Whatever the doc gives you.
So the only drugs that you've done in the past are drugs that doctors have prescribed? Is that your testimony, Mr. Hobbs?
Well, I smoked a joint.
Okay. Other than smoking a joint, any other drugs that you have used other than drugs that doctors have prescribed for you?
I'm not in the business.
That's not my question. My question is, I'm not asking if you're in the business of being a drug dealer. My question is other than smoking a joint or two, as you said, what other drugs have you done other than drugs that have been prescribed by physicians?
Young and dumb, you probably would try anything, and I haven't tried anything, but I've never been in the drug world. I'm not on drugs, never been on drugs.
So it's your testimony that the only drugs that you have ever done are drugs that's been prescribed to you or a joint or two. Is that your testimony under oath, Mr. Hobbs?
Well,
and remember,
I'm not
you
in
are
the
under
business. I know that.
Okay, so my question is, other than the drugs that a physician has prescribed
I've tried
to,
cocaine a few times, big deal.
tried cocaine a few times. All right, so we've got some joints, some cocaine. What other drugs?
None.
Crystal meth?
I'm not in it.
I'm sorry?
I'm not in the business.
That's not my question. My question,
I don't
sir,
do
is
crystal meth.
my question, sir, is under oath. Is it your testimony that you have never done crystal meth?
I tried it with my wife.
You tried it. Okay, so you have done crystal. Now we know you've done joints, you've done crack, you've done cocaine, you've done crystal meth.
I've never done crack.
You never done crack?
No, sir.
What other drugs have you done?
None.
None. How many drug convictions do you have, Mr. Hobbs?
None.
None. You've
One.
Well, is
Half
it
a
none
joint.
or is it one? What
It's
is
a
it?
joint. Half a joint.
That the only time you've been arrested for drugs?
Or ever anything would do with drugs.
That's the only time. One joint.
Yes, sir. Half a joint.
Half a joint. When were you arrested for half a joint?
04, 05, I'm just guessing. I'm not sure of the date.
Okay. And it's your testimony that's the only time you've ever been arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out. I'm sorry.
It's not the only time
not
I've
for
been
arrest. For arrested. We'll get to all the other arrests and convictions. But the only time you've ever been arrested for drugs is that half a joint in 04 or 05. That's your testimony under oath.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have a list of? You said you've got a list of folks in your mind that you want to sue. Give me the list.
Everybody who brought my name up about suspecting me as a suspect,
Okay.
I feel like should be dealt with in the courts.
Okay. Do you, other than just a general category, do you have a list of specific folks that you want to sue?
Everyone who brought my name up.
My question is, do you have specific individuals or entities in mind?
Oh, I'd love to sue that defense team.
Okay. And that would be Mr. Reardon and those folks?
All his clowns.
Okay, all his clowns. Who else?
Everybody else that brought my name up.
I'm asking for specific, did you have any specific names, Mr. Hobbs?
Nah, Mark Byers
You want to sue Mark? Why do you want to sue Mark Byers?
for calling me a child killer
When did he do that?
on TV. Ask him.
My question is, when did he call you a child killer on TV?
On Larry King.
When did he do that?
Whenever they done the Larry King live show.
All right. Well, why hadn't you sued him?
Well, he might be on the list.
Okay. Well, my question is, if he came on TV and called you a child killer, and I'm assuming you didn't do it. Did you do it? Did you kill those 3 little boys?
I can't believe you.
Well, sir, my question is you've sued my folks for a lot of bad things, and one of the things is just basically saying that the wrong that they were wrongfully convicted, and the killer of the 3 little boys is still at large. And my question to you, sir, is, did you kill those 3 little boys?
No, sir.
You know, a lot of people think you did.
I don't care.
Okay.
That's why I'm here today.
Were you involved in the murder of the 3 little boys?
No, sir. One of them little boys was my stepson.
I appreciate that, sir. Do you think the West Memphis Three, the 3 that were convicted in '94, do you think they did it?
Sure do.
No doubt in your mind?
Correct.
Has there ever been a doubt in your mind?
No.
You would agree with me, sir, that there is a doubt in a lot of other people's minds.
I don't care about that.
Okay. You don't want them to get a new trial, do you?
Justice has taken its toll, and I appreciate the justice system.
My question, sir, is you don't want the West Memphis Three to get a new trial, do you?
They don't deserve one.
I take it that you don't want them to get a new trial.
Exactly.
And the reason is?
They killed 3 little boys.
If there's a doubt that they killed the 3 little boys, do you think they deserve a new trial?
There's never been a doubt proven.
Not in your mind.
Nor in the minds of the justice system.
And you realize that those appeals are still underway.
I don't care.
But you understand that?
I do.
Okay. When was the last time you spoke with a criminal lawyer about the killing of the West Memphis, about the killing of the 3 little boys?
A criminal lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Ross Sampson.
When did you? And Mr. Sampson, he's a criminal lawyer you consulted with regard to the 3 killings, correct?
He's more than a criminal lawyer.
I appreciate that, but you consulted him in conjunction with criminal issues?
No.
Okay. He's your spokesman, right, to the
No.
public?
He was at that time.
What time are we talking about?
07.
Okay. So in 07.
Roughly 07.
Okay. You retained Mr. Sampson to be your spokesman?
Mr. Sampson agreed to speak for me.
Okay. And when you speak to you, speak to the public.
To the media, to the public.
Okay. And is Mr. Sampson still your public spokesperson today?
No, he is not.
From what period of time was Mr. Sampson your media spokesman?
During 07.
Okay.
I'm thinking. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, when in 07 did you first contact Mr. Sampson about being your media spokesman?
I'm not sure.
Well, was it spring, winter, fall, summer?
Fall, probably. I'm just guessing. Fall.
Objection calls for speculation.
I want you to guess. I just want you to give me the best answer that you can.
I just did.
Okay. Was it before or after? Did you retain Mr. Sampson to be your media spokesman before or after you were interviewed by the West Memphis Police in 07?
Probably before, if I remember right.
Okay.
Guessing again, because I don't remember.
Okay. How much did you have a written agreement with Mr. Sampson?
Mr. Sampson didn't charge me a penny.
It's not my question.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Not on this issue.
Not on the being a media spokesperson issue.
Correct.
Okay. But he was authorized to speak on your behalf.
I give him the permission.
Okay. Without getting into the specifics of what, well, let me back up. Was he acting as your lawyer then, or just a media spokesperson?
A spokesman.
Not a lawyer.
Correct.
He wasn't giving you any legal advice.
Other than tell me not to talk to him. And that's why I told him that's why I'm getting with you. I want you to tell him.
So as the media spokes representative or consultant, Mr. Sampson advised you not to speak to the media. Right?
Probably. I don't remember.
Well, did you? I mean, you just...
Ask him.
Well, I'm asking you.
I don't remember.
You don't remember if Mr. Sampson told you to, or to or not to
I
talk
told
to the
Mr. Sampson I wasn't going to talk to the media, and I want you to do it for me.
Okay.
So he did.
Okay. And he was authorized to do so on your behalf.
Correct.
And did you and he talk about what he should tell the media?
Yeah.
What'd you guys talk about that he should tell the media?
Objection to the extent that calls for privileged communication.
He's already said it wasn't in a legal capacity.
He's not free to waive that.
It's his privilege to waive. He's the only one that can.
I've instructed him not to answer about any conversations he had with Mr. Sampson.
Are you refusing to answer that question?
I do.
Okay. You said that's the only, that Mr. Sampson didn't charge you for that representation. I take it from your answer that he's charged you in other contexts?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out loud, Mr. Hobbs.
Yes.
All right. What other representation, or when else did you hire Mr. Sampson in which he represented you, in which you paid him money?
Well, he did a Hollywood film contract with us.
Is that the Dimension
Of course.
Films one, or is that a different one?
It's Dimension Films.
Okay. And he was your entertainment lawyer, I guess?
That's what he's listed in the phone book as.
Entertainment lawyer. So he's an entertainment lawyer and also a criminal lawyer?
He is.
Okay. And he represented you when you sold your life story to Dimension Films, right?
He did.
And that was your life story in conjunction with the murders that we refer to as the West Memphis Three, right?
That's my life story.
Well, they were particularly interested in the West Memphis Three and the murders.
Okay.
Correct?
I'm not sure. I just settled my life story.
And you anticipated that they were going to make a movie out of that, right?
We were led to believe that.
Okay. And you were cool with that, right?
Well, they presented it in a way that you felt comfortable with it.
And you were comfortable having your life story and your involvement with the murders and the trial made into a movie. And that's why you sold them the life story.
Exactly wrong.
Well, why?
You just sat there and said my involvement with the murders. That's a stupid question.
Your involvement meaning your stepson, whatever your involvement was, whether it be your steps, you just how you found that he was missing, to the trial, to the hubbub afterwards. I didn't say that you were involved, Mr. Hobbs. But your involvement, whatever that is, as the stepson, as the stepfather, as a parent, you were comfortable with selling your story and having that story made into a movie that would have national release. Were you not?
I guess.
Well, yes or no?
Good guess.
I'm sorry, not a good. It's yes or no.
We did sign the contract.
And you anticipated that a movie with a national release would be made.
Correct.
Okay. And you were okay with that.
At the time, we were.
All right. And you sat down on 2 separate occasions and gave a detailed interview to Dimension Films, did you not?
We talked to them, yes.
And they asked on 2 separate occasions, at least 2 separate occasions.
Seemed like it.
All right. And you told them basically what happened that day, right?
Some. We didn't go into detail like you think.
Okay. Well, I've read it. I've read the notes. Were you honest and truthful about what happened?
Try to be.
I mean, you didn't make stuff up.
Correct.
And what you told those folks actually happened, right?
Well, I'm not sure what I told them. It's been a while ago.
You tried to be truthful at the time.
I do.
Okay. And the journals, the handwritten journals that you produced in this case, you remember those?
I do.
Okay. You started making those journals May the 5th?
No, sir.
When did you start making them?
Sometime in the 90s, early 90s.
In the early 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Before or after the murders?
After.
Okay. Do you recall how long after the murders?
I don't.
and in the journals, you set out kind of what happened from your perspective, correct?
As I seen it that night,
And were you truthful and honest in those journals?
the best I could be and
So-
can be.
Okay. And so what you put in the journals is how you recall everything came down that night.
Through my eyes, yes.
Okay. And you have attempted to sell those journals to book publishers, have you not?
Yes.
Okay. When did you start trying to sell those journals to book publishers?
I'm not sure.
Can you give me a time frame, sir?
No, sir.
Has it been... When was the last time? Do you recall when the first time you did?
No.
You recall when the last time you did?
No.
Do you recall who you sent it to?
No.
You recall how many people you sent it to?
No.
Did you ever get any response from any of the folks that you sent it to?
No. Yeah, I think I did. I think one of them told me to send them $1,200 and they would work on it.
Okay. Did you keep any documents or records of the folks that you sent the journals to, the publishers?
No. Not that I can recall.
Do you ever recall telling folks that you had a book deal?
Sure.
You were
Oh,
lying?
no. No, I don't think I said I had a book deal. No.
Okay. You never told anybody you had a book deal?
Maybe not like you're trying to say. I might have told them I was working on one, would like to get one.
Okay. But you never told anybody you had a book deal?
I'm not sure.
Well, if you did, that'd be a lie, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure.
Well, have you ever had a book deal?
No.
Okay. So if you told somebody you had a book deal, that'd be a lie.
I might have told somebody I was working on one at the time.
Consider yourself an honest man, Mr. Hobbs.
I'll try.
Who else have you sold your life story to other than Dimension Films?
Nobody that I can recall.
So if someone else, so you've never testified to that, or not testified, you've never said that you sold your life story or had a deal to sell your life story to somebody else?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure, or you didn't?
I don't recall saying something like that.
And do you recall any other efforts or discussions with folks to sell your story, life story, to other entities? For book deals or movie deals or anything like that?
Well, we've always talked about books, but I don't know of anyone else that I've talked to buy it.
Okay.
Not right off.
What about movies or films?
What, the HBO made a couple documentaries.
Right.
Uh,
That's Paradise Lost, Paradise Lost 2.
it is.
Any other films?
No.
Were you compensated with regard to the HBO films about the murders?
No, sir.
Okay. But you signed releases so that you could appear in those, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. You were okay with being in those?
Well, we all talked about it.
Who's we?
Every family involved.
What'd you?
The-
Of the three little boys.
Correct.
All right. And what do you recall discussing with the family of the three little boys about the two HBO movies?
Some of us didn't want to do it. Some of them wanted to do it.
How'd you come out on that?
How'd I come out? I don't recall. They were going to do it anyway.
If you watch the video, the documentaries?
Well, I did.
What'd you think of them?
Totally wrong.
In what respects?
The portrayal.
Portrayal of who? You?
No,
Of who?
the convicted.
How was it totally wrong?
They kind of portrayed them as being innocent.
Okay. How else were the documentaries totally wrong?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. You've never been deposed before, had you, Mr. Hobbs?
Been where?
Deposed? Had to do this before?
No,
Okay. Never testified in court before?
no,
Okay. Never been a party to a lawsuit before? You have
nope,
to answer it out loud. No.
nope.
Okay.
Well, he's been a party to divorce proceeding.
I understand. I meant more of a civil.
No, sir.
Okay.
I've been through a divorce. 2 of them.
2 of them. It happens. Very briefly, sir, what's your educational background?
High school.
Finish high school?
No,
10th grade? Is that the last year?
roughly, I believe it was.
Okay. Did you finish the 10th grade?
I don't remember.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Well, I went to Cave City High School and Poughkeepsie High School here in Arkansas.
Okay. Well, why'd you drop out?
I couldn't tell you. Young and dumb.
Okay. No other formal education?
No. Manager's training. I graduated there as a manager.
You graduated where as a manager?
Manager's Training Center in Memphis.
Okay. Is that a house?
It is.
You own that house?
No, sir.
Who owns the house?
Dave and Kilpatrick.
You rent it from Mr. Kilpatrick?
Some. A room in there.
He lives there as well?
Him and his wife.
Okay. And how long have you lived with Mr. Kilpatrick?
A couple years.
Who else lives there?
Their daughter,
How old is she?
20-something.
Who else lives there?
Her boyfriend.
What's his name?
Ernest.
Ernest what?
I don't know.
Okay. Who else lives there?
Nobody that I know of.
Okay. Where'd you live before that?
On Macon Road.
What address?
I don't remember.
Is it a house?
It was.
Did you own that house?
Rented.
Who'd you rent it from?
I don't recall his name.
Did he live there too?
No, he lived in Mississippi.
Okay. Was that in Tennessee?
The Macon Roadhouse was in Tennessee.
How long have you lived in Tennessee?
Since '94.
Okay. Consistently since that time you've lived there?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out loud.
Yes.
Okay. Where do you currently work?
Discount Building Supply.
How long have you worked there?
A little over 2 years.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Anything to build a house with.
Okay. You had any discussions with anybody there about this lawsuit?
Oh, we talk about everything there.
You talk about the lawsuit?
We have.
Who have you talked to the lawsuit about at your work?
Probably every employee there.
Can you name the 5 people that you've talked to the most about this lawsuit who are at the job?
Probably Terry, Brett, Chris.
I'm sorry. I need Terry
Davis.
Terry Davis,
Brett Anderson.
Brett Anderson.
Chris Cook.
Okay. Who else?
I don't even know the rest of them's last name.
Well, what are their first names?
Vince
And who else? Give me one more.
Luther.
Okay. What have you talked to them about the lawsuit about?
Huh?
What have you talked to them about the lawsuit?
I'm not sure. I don't keep up with it.
If you told them you're going to get rich off this lawsuit?
No. We don't
You told-
talk about money.
You told anybody you're going to get rich off this lawsuit?
Not that I can recall.
Have you told anyone that you've already received an offer to pay you off in this lawsuit?
Mm-mm.
You have to answer out loud.
No.
And if you did, that'd be a lie, wouldn't it?
I imagine. Ain't no one offered me nothing.
Right. So if you told someone that you'd been offered money, that'd be a lie, right?
I guess.
All right. And have you ever told anybody that you would pay them a portion of the money that you got out of this lawsuit?
No.
So if anybody testified about that, they'd be lying.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to share your money, are you?
I'm not about money.
Okay. You're not about money. You're about humiliation. Right?
Okay.
Isn't that right? Isn't that what this is all about? Humiliation. You know what you said?
Earlier.
Well, is that right? Is that what this is all about, Mr. Hobbs? Humiliation?
Objection assumes facts not in evidence. He didn't say it was all
Hey, you know
about
what?
humiliation.
It's objection form or not, or we're going to get on the phone with the judge. Okay? You can't coach this witness. I get to ask my questions.
You cannot misrepresent his
Well, then
answers
object-
in your questions.
object to form.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and then you
You're
started to talk.
mischaracterizing the evidence.
Can you answer the question, Mr. Hobbs? Isn't this all about humiliation?
This, to me, is about justice.
You've been humiliated about the allegations, right, that have been made against you,
Correct.
and you want to get revenge, humiliate against the people
I
who made
want
it.
my day in court. I want my form of justice as the court deems necessary.
Okay.
That would make me a little more happier.
We need to change the tape, so let's go off, and then I just got about 5 minutes, then we'll take a break. It'll be a good time for a break, but I want to ask one set of questions, so off the record.
We're going off record to change tapes at 9:59 a.m.